Hello, my name is Michael Cortez. For this week's Learning Plan 2 uh, assignment, we are to describe a company in which we will be researching about for the Learning Plan 4 block of the course. I chose the Under Armour company because it is a company that's very much on the rise at this time. Didn't start off that way initially. So I'm going to introduce a little bit about the company in this presentation slideshow, just so we can get some basics on what I will be presenting later on during the course in Lesson Plan 4. So for the LP2 assignment, we're basically going to, or what we're going to outline what we want to accomplish in the LP4 assignment. And on the Under Armour company, I have some main objectives or main goals that I wanted to touch on for the LP4 assignment, and that's to introduce to the reader the background of the company, to include its commencement, when it started, the services and products that the company offers to the consumer market, why they're important as well, their human resource strategy, visions, functions, and goals for the company, the marketing specific or the specific type of marketing that the company looks to bring newer customers to the company. And then we'll also continue by analyzing and researching into the business itself, their figures, statistics. We'll go over their competitors or their competition, companies which are very similar to them and what they market and produce. We're going to identify some athletes who the company contracts to market their specific products. These are highly accomplished athletes. I'm also going to, through interviews with local employees of an Under Armour store, I want to gain employee testimonials. I also want to identify to the reader the vision and the future goals of the company and strategies that the company can take to maximize their business. So having outlined what we want to accomplish in our LP4 assignment, this outline is going to be basic. This slide actually is the most informative of this LP2 assignment. And let's just go over the commencement, or and I'd like to research into the mission of Under Armour a little bit further into the assignment. But the Under Armour company began back in 1996. It derived from an idea that the current CEO Kevin Plank had, based upon his own experiences as an athlete, collegiate level athlete. He played football for the University of Maryland. He wanted to, and this was back when technologies in clothing or undergarments for athletes were not as advanced as they were today. He wore cotton undershirts, cotton undergarments, cotton materials that were very abrasive, very hot, wouldn't dissipate or get rid of heat in hot weather, wouldn't keep the athletes cool in hot weather, wouldn't keep the athletes warm really in cool weather. So he developed this product line to do just that. Under Armour is probably, aside from Nike, which we will speak about as well in this presentation and in my research, aside from Nike, Under Armour is probably the largest sports apparel company in the world, and it's growing. Certainly didn't start off that way. but it has grown so much, and I'm very interested in this company to see through research, what it's all about and how it developed into the dominant player in the market that it is today. So we'll research a little bit more into Kevin Plank's vision, his experiences, how he turned the company into what it is today, and about the future of the company as well, what their mission is. So I will also be performing research into that, and identification will be made for both past, present, and future outlook, statistics to include sales, production, and other aspects of the business. And very, very importantly, I want to understand growth of the company, if there is still current growth, which I'm pretty sure there is. The company is more prevalent today than what it was in the past couple of years, and even just the year before now. So I want to gain an understanding of that growth and how they're doing that, how they're so successful, and continue to research into how they plan on sustaining that growth in the future. So in understanding of what the Under Armour company brings to the market, there's also a certain understanding that they have competitors who are trying to do the same thing that they are, and who are marketing and bringing very similar products to the table for dominance in that market. Some of the major companies that I've identified as being competitors to the Under Armour brand, of course, is Nike, who has been in this game or innovative and probably the number one name in this market since its incorporation back in, I believe it was the mid 1960s, and in the early or late 80s to 90s, and even into present day, Reebok had always rivaled Nike with their products and shoe lines and apparel. So they had always been neck and neck with one another, and then Under Armour came into that mix in the late 90s, as we have identified. And I want to compare all these companies together, see what their numbers are all about, how they compare to each other. It's also going to be dependent on how large the companies are, so we'll identify how large they are as well, and who they actually appeal to, if it's just locally, if it's just nationally, or if they're actually all globally. So those are some of the things that I want to accomplish during my research. Okay, so moving on, we're also going to identify certain athletes that the Under Armour company contracts to bring their products, or to make them number one in the eyes of sports fans and other individuals highly involved in the products that the company markets. I'm also going to, where I live, in the area where I live, there is an Under Armour store specific to the company Under Armour. It's one of their stores. So I also want to research and speak to some of the employees as well as management teams, and see how the actual main company or the main Under Armour branding maybe enforces their objectives or trains their employees on the Under Armour mission and just everything that the company is about. I want to see if they're sort of indoctrinating their employees with this information. So that's going to be interesting to do as well. Some of the athletes that we speak about for Under Armour that they currently have under contract are, of course, the National Basketball Association's most valuable player, who is Stephen Curry, plays for the Golden State Warriors. Very dominant player, and just so happens to wear that Under Armour line of apparel. as well as Major League Baseball star standout Bryce Harper, who plays for the Washington Nationals. He's similar in age to myself. I was actually a baseball athlete in high school growing up, and I was familiar with who he was because he was good from the get-go, from the junior level to high school level, and now he's in the professional level. And he just so happens to be under contract through Under Armour. So, of course, part of the main areas of research that we're wanting to achieve for the LP4 assignment would be human resource management, the vision for the company, what it's doing for just to sustain that success in their business, and maybe identify some strategies that, having learned through this course, that the Under Armour company could incorporate into their business for even more type of domination or improvement, or maybe even improvement in things that they're lacking. So we will perform that research to gain an understanding of what the company desires to achieve in the future and how they're planning to do it in the tough market that they're involved in. And of course, again, the strategies that human resources and the management teams from Under Armour identify as threats to the company or areas that they need to capitalize in for that sustainability. So that's going to wrap up the end of this basic outline presentation of what I'm wanting to achieve during my LP4 assignment. For today's research, a little bit of work that I did, I basically looked to the actual Under Armour Performance brand company's website and gained a little bit of insight on their history and who their products are being marketed to, and who their main athletes are that they identify as ambassadors of their product to market to individuals out in the public. So I went ahead and left that reference there for the Under Armour website. The bottom corner, as well as on the initial presentation slide, there is the famous icon, or the copyrighted icon that Under Armour identifies themselves with, and it's the product branding is specific to them as well. You see the top portion of the logo is situated as like the letter U, standing for under, and then the bottom portion is just basically reversed or flip side of that top U, and with the the initial embedding of the U into the bottom signal forms like the letter A, which would stand for armor. So it's pretty unique. It's pretty basic, but it just shows how just basic branding and company product and success can really associate something with a certain company, and that logo there is very famous today.